been working, Mrs. Turner, a little while, and he's a hard worker, then we can give him some money. I said, well, as long as you don't get a promotion, he can't get no money. But your answer is always, we'll see what the council says for the $10 one. But to give the $5 away, you can do it on your own. I mean, how does that process?
It had to be either a promotion in reference to that, or they took on additional duties, or they received additional licensing. So for instance, based on what the policy was here before I got here, if you received a CDL, then you got additional funds. If you, as this person got a D license, you received additional funding. If you were promoted, to make that salary that was at that position. I can determine if it's less or more, but it's a range that be able to do that. But if someone's asking they had to raise, I'm strongly recommending, and when we come to our budget meetings, I raise more than 1% for the next fiscal year. But it's based on what the council approved.
1% is part of the nickel.
I'm sorry.
1% is a nickel or what?
1% of someone who's making $15 an hour is $15 an hour.
And on your promotions, Ms. Turner, are you basing it on what the previous person was making, or are you based on that person's experience and?
That person's experience and what that budgeted person. So for example, we'll use the city secretary, for example. She was going from clerk to city secretary. That position paid 22, but I didn't, because of her experience, give her 22. We gave her something around 16, which is more than what she was doing before. So we promoted you to that position, and we promoted you, but she did not receive what is in that range of what that.
And that's why I'm asking, because I mean, the previous person, whether it be secretary, street maintenance
Right.
manager, may have been there for 20 years, and been doing that job for 20 years. So it doesn't seem fair the guy who just got in there is making the same, unless he's qualified, has done the position, elsewhere.
Right. So in this position, she didn't have as much experience as your previous secretary did, so I did not give her exactly what they said. But it's usually in that range, something at the beginning or the high. Now, it's not established right now in reference to a pay scale. We looked at all the job descriptions that were forward. There's no set, in the federal government and some other government entities that have a pay scale in reference to if you're G1, you get this, if you're G2, you get that. In the bargaining agreement, they have different things in reference to if you have a degree, you get this, and that's not established in reference to policy. We may look at something like that when we review our handbook, but at this point, no, you don't have anything like that.
I just want to see if we can do something. I don't know what we can do, but to work together to see what, because to me, the guy that's making 10,000 been here for 10 years, still making 10. There's a problem.
Oh, I agree. Because I start new employees at $10. And he's been here 10 years and he's making $10, then he's not being paid equitable, but that's what I inherited. So we're looking to city council to make those adjustments.
Mrs. Turner, we have salary ranges, right?
No, ma'am, we do not.
I remember Sherry Pollock worked on every single position and established salary ranges.
Sherry Pollock worked on job descriptions, and I have that, but I don't have anything in reference to the salary ranges. No, ma'am, I do not. I checked with the old book, the job description, they have the old book. There's one on a drive that we have. They talked about every position in reference to job descriptions, but I do not have and cannot find anything in reference to adoption of a salary scale.
I had asked the previous city manager about that question, if there was a scale from, for this job title that you get paid within this range. And he specifically told me, yes, that there has been what is it called, a survey or something that had been done that stated that, it gave the parameters basically of the
Well, I mean, I've used the mayor's
I don't know how
desk
true that
drawer.
was,
I've used the mayor's desk drawer because she has some things in reference to, we can't find a locate, we can look again, but I didn't find anything in reference to that. I referred to our secretary, we can find something, but I could not find anything on my book.
Okay. And I'm not saying that there is something, but I'm just going by
Because they
what
have all,
was been told to me in the past.
in this beautiful box that I keep in my office, all the evaluations have there. It talks about the job description, we have the evaluations in there. I didn't see anything in reference to job. Our HR person is familiar with the scale such as that?
No.
No.
Okay, then I was like to.
But we can look at that, but that's going to take some time. I don't have that ready for you for this budget year.
Thank you.
You just stated, yes,
Now we're going to go
on to 2D, presentation of fiscal year 2014-2015 budget. In the folder in front of you, you should have your budget proposed here. This is it. Connie and I worked very hard, and we met with all the different departments, and I went through that. So I'm submitting this for your review.
Yeah, touching on slides, you want us to review this?
Oh, I just want you to look at it, so we're gonna, have funds here at the part, look at it, by fund, all the different funds. I just want you to have an opportunity to look at it and make comments or whatever.
For our next budget meeting, you're saying, or?
Yes, sir. Yes, but I first, sticking to the schedule, the first actually working on, we have some people that are gonna present to you, but I'm proposing, Mayor, if I may, what I'm proposing is that, you have the revised budget schedule that maybe the 29th and the 31st budget meetings that we have first is actually talk about the solvency plan and have Pat Wagner, our auditor, come and talk to us. And then at the second meeting on the 31st, and we have tentatively talked to Victor Quiroga to make that meeting to talk about our bonding and all the financing. So we'll start with those two meetings, and then we'll start with each individual fund. So that's what I'm proposing to do once you adopt this calendar, so that you can talk about consulting, which I know is important to you, important to me as well, that you can talk about that and have the auditor there, and then our financial advisor, have him there to answer those questions. I would like to invite 4A and 4B to come to that meeting because they're involved in this bonding issue as well, and then move on and take the budget fund by fund. That's what I'm doing.
Well, the meeting started at 7, because I noticed they didn't have a time.
They didn't have a time, but we can start at 7 or 6:30. I didn't want to do that.
Earlier would be better, if everyone can make it.
She's
but if
speaking
not-
to the budget time. Is that our next?
No, it's
Oh.
later, but that's.
But I mean, when we do that, you can just let me know. If you want to post them for 6:30 for workshop, to post them at 7 or whatever your pleasure is. And to have so many, we won't actually have 2 and 3 hour meetings. We're hoping to keep them to an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I know you're going to be having a watch on me there, Councilman, to keep me but I need an hour and a half too. That's why we're taking in small chunks. And so when we had to do the police department or the fire department, they will be present to ask questions, but you have a time to digest it and give any questions go on.
Thank you. Can I ask you a question on this chart?
I'm sorry,
On your organization?
you can ask me a question on that?
I just have one question. You have on there public utilities. Who's the public utilities person?
Well, we don't actually have a public utilities person.
Because that was done away with, right?
Yes. So just, that's like a division of all those people. So there is no person in the public utilities.
So who's going to need that for there? And all these other people, the supervisors respond to you, right?
Yes. Okay, so we can make to take that out.
And then put them under you?
Mm-hmm.
That was the question I had.
Now we can go on to 2E, street maintenance and driveways. Councilman Reynolds?
I know y'all talked about street last week, but I was out of state, so I wasn't able to make the meeting. But, I want to ask, on the streets that we're supposed to have 8 or 10 streets done by August, how are we doing on that?
Okay, just 1 second, we'll have the supervisor come and speak to that. We're able to do some things in reference to that, he can speak to that, and he did take the meeting, so he can update everybody. Alex?
Your question, sir?
The streets.
How many streets, the Stern had said, I think a while back, maybe like 4 months, 5 months ago, she said she had, how many streets you had, 6 or 7?
10.
10. How are we doing on the 10?
We haven't started on yet.
We're gonna finish in August or September.
I was told we would start on this year, and they're going to get started in August. God willing, I have our motor grader out today, both of them. The city owns 2. Actually, our main motor grader, I started on it yesterday, grew 2 lines. Understand, I don't know how old this piece of equipment is, but that's what we have to work with.
How long do you think the 10 streets is gonna take?
I think the projected from what I've looked over and all the information that I have, the projected allotted time for each street is just about correct. And I believe they have that packet, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Or had been given it?
And I can give you an upgrade again if you need to have that via email or in your mailbox in reference to what streets we're talking about in this order. Because I don't think it's takes some time about this order, and I think Alex is actually.
I went and put in an order.
Which one we're going to do first?
I questioned Ms. Turner if, but she gave me, I'm assuming the same packet that they had. There was an order on that packet, you know, of the streets, and my question was, is this the order that we need to go by? And she informed me that it wasn't, that it was up to me. Because if I remember correctly, I believe South Fourth, South Third, and some of South Second are at the top of the list. And it didn't make any sense to me because I know that a lot of the water lines and stuff back there on those roads have not been updated. So it didn't make any sense to me to try and start that street project first. You know, so that's one of the reasons I went in and I asked her if there was a specific order or not.
Mayor, you remember one of your comments was that you didn't want to repair a street or fix a street and then come back and do it.
Exactly.
So we met with Andreas and Andrew, to talk about which ones we should do first so that we don't have to do that. They have to camera some. Railroad was moved up because they actually cut the street to do some connections. And so we'll have a list for you that I can get you in your packet for next week if you like, that which streets we're going to do first and the time frame we're going to complete. We were delayed a little bit because we had a supervisor, we had some equipment that didn't work. Railroad Street right there by the high school, because they cut the street for the connection for the change of commerce.
Back then, when I asked that question, I think that they had told us that they had found some issues with the pipes and stuff. Have any of those been repaired?
Andreas is looking at which one we need to repair. There's also an issue with manhole covers, because the size that we have, I believe, is 24, and the standard size now is 30. So they're going back doing those two.
That's the issue that we're having. I'm gonna do all I can to not damage any of the manholes that we have out there, but I'll say what, 90% of the manholes that we have out there are 24-inch round manholes, the covers, and you can't find those anymore. They don't make it. We've got to go to 30. We have a few manhole covers available to us, but in tearing up a road, the possibility of you hitting one of those manholes is likely. I mean, you're not going to try and do it, but it's likely. And that's that goes back to one of the issues that I had in starting South Fourth. I feel that if the funding is available, we can, Andres and the water crew can go out on South Fourth, South Third, tear up that road as much as they need to repair sewer and water lines on those two roads. And then I can come back behind them. And I know you've all driven those roads. They're patched left and right with water leaks. And I just didn't see it feasible to go and do that, repair the road when, you know, if I finish in 3 weeks, he's gonna come back in the 4th week and repair it.
That was the reason that I had said use the camera and find and fix.
Their camera and they're doing it, so the order's going to come and I can get that for you for the 10th Street.
So these streets gonna have curbing?
Yes, that was in the budget, that was in the funding.
Honey, how's that gonna affect us if we don't get that done before the end of the year, which you're not, obviously?
No, it doesn't,
You roll over.
because it rolls over to the fund balance, and then when we work on the new budget, we make sure that that money that roll forward, we put it back into the fund, into the budget. So I don't have that waiting.
How was the courses for the training that y'all did with the county on
It
the?
went really well, it went really well. The gentleman that was out there with us, he has, I don't know, he told me something like 32 years experience. And it went really well.
Was it beneficial? Did
It was.
it enlighten a lot of people and
It was
a good educational
yes,
course?
yes, sir. It was very beneficial.
And he took the training as a park supervisor, and now he's a street supervisor. So encourage him to do it.
Do y'all feel that more training needs to be done, or?
Yes, I do. My honest opinion is, and I know Ms. Turner and I have been speaking about it along with, Margaret, I'm looking for an operator. I'm looking hopefully to hire an operator. I can operate, by no means do I have, years of experience on a maintainer. It's not hard. But my thing is, as a supervisor, I don't feel that it's my responsibility to be on that maintainer. It's my responsibility to make sure that the work gets done and gets done correctly in a timely fashion. And if I'm gonna be sitting on that maintainer for 6, 7 hours a day, to progress the way I feel we need to progress, I need a gentleman, a woman, it doesn't matter, that I know knows that maintainer. I can shoot the grades. I can start on whatever street, I can go shoot all the grades. He can come behind me, and I can continue to move on to the next street, shoot all the grades, come behind me. I mean, again, it's not gonna happen overnight. But, that's what we've been discussing.
And advertising for as well, so there's advertising out there to find somebody with street experience, and we're hoping to get that and to continue education. TechStop has one,
Teaks.
Teaks. We're hoping to get Teaks training as well. So training is important, and also cross-training as well.
Now, we're able to borrow some of the equipment, I know we use it off and on from the county. Are we able to use some of it?
I've never really discussed that. I mean, normally we just, I've never asked Mr. File, I've never asked Commissioner File to borrow anything. I've only asked Commissioner Gomez. And I don't believe that that's a piece of equipment that, they would make readily available for us to borrow, because when you use that piece of equipment, it's gonna be for an extended period of time. You know, when I call Mr. Gomez for the backhoe or the front end loader, it's gonna be used for the day. And he won't have an issue with that. I don't think that if someone were to come to me and ask me if they could borrow our motor grader, to do, 4 or 5 miles worth of road, I'm gonna have to decline. I'm sorry, because there's gonna come a point in time that I'm gonna need it.
And I think when I talked to Commissioner File, he had said that if we needed to, that it would probably be a possibility that we could use that employee for the county with the county equipment. That we couldn't use his equipment as such, but we could probably contract his employee to help us.
Yes, and we've had continued conversations with him in reference to that. He has some issues with his wife's health, and he was in and out and on vacation, and so we're hoping that when summer's over, we can definitely schedule something in reference to that. We've also, EDC was so happy with us our work, that they want to invite us back out to help water and keep that street down, and so we're hoping to do some kind of agreement with them as well. So it is moving forward.
Madam Mayor, just to you, for all of you to understand, we're coming through the summer. It's ideal time right now to be reconstructing roads. I'm gonna say come late October, beginning of November, that road construction is gonna cease. We can't, in the cold climate, you can't drop wood. It just, it's gotta be above 68 degrees a day, consistently.
So what
So
can we
just
do,
to-
any bad roads before then?
We're gonna attack it and
Oh,
have
yes.
and have a plan for you, hopefully at the next meeting. Thank you, Alan.
I'm not done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask you about that, driveway over there on 97. You said that the city does not fix any driveways anymore, any potholes.
Correct.
And, I had talked to Tim, and Tim said, if the city wanted to, they could patch it up. And you said that you were gonna do away with fixing any kind of driveways, any kind of potholes. Now, I told you the last time
That's
too.
not quite what I said.
Well, what you say?
I said that we don't want to fix people's driveways with aprons, if that's what the city needs to be able to do. We definitely can't use street funds in reference to that. And that easement comes off of TxDOT easement, Highway 87, correct?
That's correct.
Highway 87 comes off TxDOT easement, and you need to be careful in reference to getting onto private property using public funds.
It's not on private property. The thing is, I told you, I would say, that's why I would like to talk to you with somebody around that way I can have a little witness, because you always start forgetting things. thing is, I have an issue at Valentin Garcia's house, you know where Valentin lives?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's two little potholes like that, that when the water runs down, it made a hole. TxDOT's gonna go there and scrape it down so the water can run, but that, by holding water, made a hole there. Now, TxDOT said the easements, the right of ways are ours. Now, he said, we don't do no driveways. I told him the same thing. I told him, you got all these driveways done by the bus barn and all that, everybody got a driveway, everybody, you go down past Fuller's, there's a driveway by the school. And he said, we stopped, I don't know what year, he said, so we're not gonna do it no more. And, but the city, my thing is, y'all passed, maybe not you, but John, or, and on her block too, somebody at the city, these people pay tax dollars year after year and with nothing in return. You know, Valentin, it's not his driveway straight, it's just on the side of the driveway, on both sides. It's got a hole. And the man, we can't get, the TxDOT says it belongs to the city says it belongs to TxDOT, the right of way is to, and that's not the answer they want to hear. Down here on East Street, somebody fixed that driveway, and it hasn't been long, it might be a year, a few months. And over here on Sixth Street,
This one wasn't me.
okay, but anyway, this on Sixth Street,
This was me.
okay, they say that when they put curbing, you automatically get the asphalt.
That's what I was told, yes.
Okay, but is there something in black and white that says that we're gonna go put that asphalt on there? And I asked you that question, I don't know if you gave me the answer, could you forget, so what was the answer?
The answer is, I didn't have anything in black and white. Whether
Okay,
to-
but you can do this, but you can't cover a little hole.
Well, I think that was, that's something that, I guess it's, there's an ordinance that if anyone.
There's no ordinance.
I don't know,
That's what I was just gonna say, that's what I was told.
I've never seen
I
it.
talked to Tim directly, and he said that the city can cover that.
The city can, yes, sir, that's correct. But that's his easement. That's his state right of way.
Well, this is state right away, but he told me that the city, that they don't do driveway, but the city, you have done it for other people, that's why I'm saying, what is
The
the
picture on East Street that I just discussed with you that I did do anything to that gentleman's driveway. Nothing at all.
No, but you do the asphalt for it.
That's correct, but not his driveway.
No, I'm not saying about the driveway, I'm
Oh,
saying.
you just said the driveway.
No, I'm talking about, I'm saying that it cost a penny to throw that asphalt
Yes, sir.
all the way down.
Yes.
And this man got a little pothole and pays city taxes and gets nothing in return. And all I told him is, that, can you just, I don't know, she says whatever.
But well, I'm in agreement with her because that's the state right of way.
Tim told me I can cover it.
Well, I can tell you, he could cover it too.
But he told me directly, he said directly, if I do a driveway, then somebody else is gonna want it.
Well, that's where I was going with it. If we do Mr. Garcia's
So why did y'all do this one on Sixth Street?
on Sixth Street,
No.
because like I said, I was told that there's an ordinance. I didn't see it, but I was told that there's an ordinance.
Let me see the
When a resident purchases curbing, that the city is going to fill that, up to that curbing with asphalt.
They did on Blue Bonnet, the city did, on Bettis's house.
No, that was the Bible.
No, the city put the black.
Can you state your name, ma'am?
Joanne Malones.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The city
Your
went,
address?
because I saw them, the city went and they had that black tar and they ran over it with the tractor and they put it on to cover their homes.
And all I'm trying to prove is, it's okay for certain people, but it's not okay for Mr. Garcia.
Well, no, with regards to me on that, Mr. Morris, I'm sorry, but
And the city has done it for rest his soul, Benny Arena Senior. Y'all have gone there and covered it, or no?
not me.
No.
Not you, but the
Not
city.
me.
No, because
But the city-
I've heard complaints of that
Well,
year
the
after
city has
year.
done it. The city has done it.
No.
Because
Yeah, they did, they threw,
I don't know.
the city went and covered some potholes for Mr. Arena.
No, they did that on their own.
I don't know.
No, they didn't do it on
But
their
you
own.
know what, Mario, you have to understand that a long time ago, everybody got everything done. All they would do was just call the city manager, call whoever, call the councilman, and there they would go. Not because the city had the funds for it, but they went and
That's
did it
another
because
issue,
of the
Mr. Morris, that
complaint.
I have. I mean, if you want me to go through Mr. Garcia, if you're giving me that directive, then I'm gonna go do it.
I'm not giving you
But,
a,
no, I'm just saying, but my thing is, once I do his, and I know you've seen it, that from his house down to the, all the way up to the Montoyas.
the city did it at J.C. Burger. You remember that? You recall that? You weren't here, you
I
weren't
guess
here. Right? But the city did all. That's what I'm saying. You say, we gotta start somewhere by not doing it, but we've done it, and you can't cover a whole
I
town.
can't keep bad practices, we have to stop at some place, I can't keep bad practices. And you all have charged me to make the
But you
decisions
think
for
the
the
city
city.
dollar,
If
city
you,
cut.
if you charge me to do the day-to-day operations, and you ask my opinion, then I'm giving you my recommendation in reference to that, the best way to do the city funds. And so if we had here last week, the city made a mistake, and you all determined, yes, we need to go ahead and fix that and not charge it, I can't go back and.
Here in the city is who you know, that's all. If you know somebody, you're gonna take
Well,
care
I
of it.
don't know these people,
Well,
They
it should be
did
that way.
this one on Sixth Street,
I don't know them either.
and I wanna see the ordinance tomorrow too, and have it in the
I
proper
don't
ordinance.
say, I'll look into it, but I don't know Sixth Street, I don't know the gentleman over, I don't know them.
That's all.
And that's the secretary, the
That's
ex
what it
husband.
is. He paid it, he paid
I
for it.
don't know him either.
Oh, he pays for the curbing, but I'm talking to
I
asphalt.
was, she asked me. And I did another one on D and second right here.
I wanna see that ordinance.
They did the same thing, they did the curbing, and I just attached to the curbing.
I just want it to be fair for everybody, that's all I want. That's all I'm asking.
If I can look at the ordinance, I'll make sure that you have a copy of it.
I've heard that back since Philip was city manager. That's how long.
And they
that's
keep
how-
doing it. They say we'll do that, they will do it.
We can't continue giving them.
They continue to do it. They did it on Sixth Street a couple of weeks ago. Who did this? It was important.
Or maybe if ordinance isn't provided, it can stop right there on Sixth Street.
They should have stopped. They should have checked the ordinance if there's one. I can guarantee there's not one. Thank you.
Well, let me get mine done first.
And mine. Okay, now we're gonna go on to item 2F, FEDC properties. Henrietta?
Yes, Mr. Baker and I have had lengthy conversations in reference to properties, and as I came to the city, as a new city manager, I was trying to see what we have control of. One of my confusions is that some of the parks are actually listed for FEDC. The mayor and I have had discussions that we pay water bills there, we maintain it and cut it, but they're actually on their books. So we had a conversation about those, as well as the beer warehouse, which I brought to you months ago, in reference to selling the property. And so Mr. Drake and I have been going back and forth, and he actually have made some commitments in reference to their budget, and I'll let him speak to that.
Mayor and Councilman, I basically have been looking and talking to my board about our property inventory and whether certain properties we have fit our profile. And our profile is really industrial parks, business parks, where we can develop infrastructure and then subdivide those and sell them off to businesses that'll build an office building or put in their headquarters, and has worked very successfully in the industrial park in that we have 25 acres out of 350 left, and it represents millions of dollars worth of economic impact to the city and to this area. And also all the employees that live here and buy groceries and buy everything. So that's our profile. It is not having surplus lots that are in the floodplain. It is not having 12 acres that somebody, when they put in the subdivision, they deeded over to us. It's all in the floodplain. There's no value, there's no use to it, except if it were used for a possible future park. We're not in the business of developing parks either. And so I looked at our inventory, and
Mr. Baker, so Parks is it under the 4B profile?
I'm sorry. What is it?
He's saying parks is under your profile, parks. Park protection is under your profile.
No, no, we're
Parks
not.
is under the 4B profile.
Basically, our profile does not include parks or development of parks.
You might want to look at when the 4B was first established, maybe not a local profile that you personally taken on, but Parks is under the 4B profile. Yes, sir, it is.
Well, I can tell you that we have spent a lot of money in the past developing the skate park, and I know the 8-acre park were next to the sewer plant, was money spent. But we are trying to divest ourselves of those parks, and I think the city is the best alternative to try to develop those over a long period of time. We are also not in the rental business, and that's what the beer warehouse has turned out to be. It has good cash flow. About every weekend of the month, it's leased out for a party or family reunion or birthdays, whatever. And so I have proposed to Henrietta the transfer of the beer warehouse and the surplus properties that are named in exchange for no charge rent for our offices here in City Hall. It would be a no cash transaction between us. It would be probably an interlocal agreement that would transfer the properties over to the city and then also state that we're going to have, at this point, 8 years, 4 months of no charge rent. The beer warehouse rentals will more than be offset by the loss of rent, and that is a cash cow. We don't have the ability. I'm a one-man office, so I take calls to book events, but if it were aggressively managed by a third party, I think it's a perfect complement to what can't go out of the event center can go into the beer warehouse. And to have that forum available to citizens, I think is very important.
Mr. Baker, I noticed here in the list that it doesn't mention the Cantarana Park.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Park.
Is that happening?
Oh, right now, I'm coming to you guys first to see what we need to do to make this happen. If you all want to include that park as an additional property, I will simply take that to my board and say, this is part of the deal the city council wants, and then the board can decide, what they want to do. I think from polling, I don't want to say polling, from various conversations I've had with certain board members, they are in favor of this. And for us to concentrate on having money and development for, like right now, our industrial park is 97% sold out. We need to have an inventory. We don't have any inventory of property. So, after the paving project, and we get an idea of what kind of money we can generate, we'll be out trying to find a second industrial park and so forth. So, that's kind of our plan, but we can certainly include that park because it is surplus.
How many acres is that? 2, 3?
It's a little over 3.5 acres.
And just so that the currently, so about the skate park, we pay the water bill for skate park, the light bill that's associated with that. So we pay for a lot of the things that's actually on the EDC books, a little commingled, and so this way we'll have it definitely straight out. A passion of mine, and I recruited the mayor, the hike and bike trail, the depot is part of that, which is the yellow building that sits on the hike and bike trail. So that depot is something that we can use that goes along with the hike and bike trail as well. So it's kind of like putting all the components together, and we're maintaining it, trying to maintain it a little bit better. We drove that today as well. So that's all we're trying to do in reference to that. Now, the beer warehouse has a value. I know they tried to sell it, and they can't sell it without us. Some of the things I didn't agree with, the mayor didn't agree with, and I don't think the council would agree with either in reference to the use of that building. And so now we'll be able to have it as an option, and I have staff that can actually market it and do so. Mr. Baker is a one-man show. He answers his own phone, and so we can definitely look at it a little better. So there is a revenue stream, hopefully that can replace what we'll be losing from his rent.
What does FEDC pay in maintenance fees for all of these,
What do they pay
the
to
work
us?
on the depot, the state park, the North Crest Community Park? How much does it cost to maintain all of this? I think that's what we need to look at as a city, and look at staffing also, because that would require staffing. It's not just a matter of taking these properties over, it's a matter of thinking, how are we going to, it's like the Highway 181, you know, volunteered to take that over in exchange for, we did an exchange program on that, didn't we? For the 181?
I believe they gave
Yeah.
something.
They gave us some landscaping, I believe.
Some landscaping.
So is this another one of those deals where we're going to have to be cutting grass all the time?
Well, one of the deals in reference to the Crest, is it the Crest Group, the park? The North Crest Park, is we're hoping to develop that to address some of the issues, because we need some additional playing areas, soccer fields and those kind of things we need to address, to be able to do so. We can't say we're gonna put a park on their land. And so if it's our land, we can go and actually try to get funding and granting to make a park. That's one. Mr. Baker's, EDC has been maintaining it and cutting the grass, so we will have to cut that. We've been taking joint efforts, some of them we do, some of them they do, but we need to be able to say parks should be, public parks should be city property, especially if we're paying utilities on them as well.
Which ones have they been maintaining?
They cut some of the park, right?
I'm sorry.
You cut the park up there on Goliath, the Singing Frog Park, I don't know what it's called, Singing Frog Park.
I thought the city was cutting that.
We started assisting them because we need to get back there in the back to take care of it, but we are assisting them in cutting the
But I
park.
think we've been cleaning it out along, right, Mr. Baker? I don't think the FEDC's been paying for anything. The only thing that y'all have been paying for is the cleaning of the beer warehouse, to my understanding.
That's correct. And
All the maintaining.
the city is using, I guess we've got 8 acres in that park, and the city's been using the back, I don't know, 3 or 4 acres.
3 or 4 acres, because somebody got back there and started dumping, and so we need to cut it down so that we can see the dumping, but we've been maintaining. So some of these properties that are FEDCs, we've been maintaining only because they're public parks, and we get the complaints in reference to that. People have a hard time understanding why it's not a city park, and we're like kissing cousins, because they're kind of related, they can't function without us. So we do have that jointly there, but this is just a discussion because we want to see if this is the way you all want to do. We can spend some more time and think about how much money it's going to cost. I'm ready to do that. The reason why I asked to be on the deal because Mr. Baker needed to know for his purposes, but also I need to know if that's the way you all want to look at it, if that's what we want to look going forward. I'm looking for direction from the
I
board.
think budget time also, I mean, just if we get to look at this, because how much money is it going to take to
I can
expand
get you,
these parks?
I can get you that numbers. I'm saying, is this something that you all care to entertain? Because it will adjust my budget. So is this something that you all are willing to entertain and go down that road to spend the staff time and hours to investigate this at a higher level?
Is there more property in Floresville that would be purchasable for industrial and business, or EDC that, for their interest?
That's a good question, Eric. You know.
I'm just curious because, I mean, typically, you know, the best thing to do would entertain this within the city limits of Floresville instead of, you know, in the industrial park over there at.
I don't have any proposed property, what we're doing, kind of the logic I'm using in the industrial park right now is, in about 2 months, we will have a bid to pave the roads. And once that paving's done and I get a cost, then I'm going to use that and the cost of bringing in water, in addition to what we could pay an adjacent owner to be able to use that $1 million investment in roads to approach the adjoining owners and be able to offer them a price per acre that we can develop and still break even or make a little bit of money on. And I mean, there's lots of activity. I have more activity than I have land for. And so, that's one aspect of taking our investment in the roads and trying to spread the park, to extend the park and then have to only pay for those road and infrastructure extensions into the acreage we buy and develop. Part of the problem has been that we, from the history of this, we've sold property for $3,000 and $5,000 an acre. Property net sales I'm making now are $20,000 to $23,000 an acre, and so there was no money put back to pave the road. We just promised people that we would do it, and now there's been enough time that there's some grumbling and they want it done. And so, right now, that's what I'm trying to focus on. I'm trying to see if we can increase the industrial park. The business park still got 4.3 acres and 5 out of, I've got one under contract, 4 lots left that are 0.8 acres, and they are in front of the veterans home, and we're actively marketing that. So we've got more money needs to try to focus this down and try to get into providing businesses and industry with a place to call home and try to attract them and snag them and keep them in Floresville. Any other questions?
My only thing, like I mentioned in the beginning, is, and I was incorrect, wasn't necessarily a state, but when the 4B was first approved by the citizens of Floresville, the development of parks was in the verbiage and approved by the voters. But now that we're taking in the most money that we've received in sales tax, now we're saying our focus is only industrial and we're not going to do anything with parks. We're actually going to give up everything we have as far as parks, hand over the city, and not do any kind of development of parks when, that should be part of your focus. Also, I understand industrial, bringing business in should be the majority of it, but we shouldn't forget about the parks aspect of it.
Well, and your point's well taken. I think, in my estimation, as a one-man shop, and I have no staff,
But you have a board.
we're going to move these over to the city and let them develop them because they've got staff to maintain it and to plan and, to do the kind of things that residents expect of the city. And we've spent a lot of money. We spent $71,000 on the skate park. So we invested money, but I'd like to transfer that ongoing development or ongoing maintenance of parks to the city to benefit the citizens.
Basically saying what's existing right now that y'all aren't benefiting from, shed it off to the city because y'all aren't seeing any more profits or anything off of it.
That's why I don't have staff to-
And saying that the city can,
No, but it's not all about profit, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you can't hand over a parcel of land that's undeveloped and just say, here, this is our commitment to the parks for this year, but we're gonna hand it over to you, now you develop it, when you're receiving the half-cent sales tax to develop the parks.
And we spent that.
And this year, I'm sure that amount has surpassed any year before.
We spent that,
Exactly.
sales
No,
tax
the skate park was.
on these properties that we're trying to move over to the city.
No, the North Park wasn't, the North Park was actually handed over, wasn't it? Wasn't that with the subdivision? I don't think we spent any money on the North Park subdivision.
No, that part is vacant, there hasn't been any improvement at all in North Park to that part.
Yeah, I think since the skate park, I don't think anything's been done, you know, with that. And I'm sure you guys have been working, and I know you've done a great job of getting us out of the whole, you know, the mess that was over at the industrial park, you and your board. But I'm just saying, moving forward, that's not the attitude we need to have, saying, hey, our focus is only industrial, it's now parks, because the citizens voted for, the parks as part of the development of 4B.
And
that can't be
I
forgotten.
would hope that we, you know, if we acquire property that we set aside, you know, have a planned unit development where we say, here's the road system, here are the lots, and here's a park. And that be part of the planned unit development that we would, you know, we would do. First, we've got a part of the property and then put in the infrastructure. But we would certainly do that. I would simply go back to the city and say, we'd like to develop it where you have infrastructure, but can you run it? Can you maintain it and run it for the citizens? And I think then we meet all of the obligations that, you know, that we are committed to. And, you know, this is in no way trying to shirk that responsibility. It's just that we can concentrate our monies in a way that the city can maintain it, but we can go out and get more property that includes parks and develop land that we can attract, you know, people to. So I totally agree with you, and this is kind of the reasoning that we put together to try to do this trade.
So does that mean that in the future you would allocate land for parks, but you would not own it? Yeah.
Would that be the same thing like allocating land for parks?
Of new
Right, does that,
purchases.
if you're out of the park business, does that change your bylaws? And secondly, does that mean that you would no longer invest money in parks?
Oh, no, not so, no. If we acquired something, which right now, we need to acquire an industrial park, I don't think
I'm talking
A
about
park out there
recreational,
would
I'm
be-
talking about recreational parks like these that you're trying to transfer to the city.
yeah, and yes, we would keep that up. I mean, just like these parks, these properties we're trying to move to the city, we spent a lot of money, we bought the land, we put the skate park in, but the day-to-day management and trying to keep up with that has slipped through the cracks. And so we have restrooms that have been vandalized, and we need to, one or the other of us needs to.
Well, there's no electricity out there, there's no water out there other than probably a spigot that's probably.
There's a fountain there and water connection there, so it's a minimum bill that's generated, but the bathrooms have been locked off because of the toilets and the sinks keep getting broken in that bathroom.
There
But we
was
do need to address that bathroom issue because the children are actually using the bathroom on the back wall, so they are.
well, wasn't there an agreement with the porta potty company?
Yes, the league stop tax. So we may have to rent some porta potties, we can do that for funding, but yes,
Did we find out if there was light there, a light at the skate park?
there's not,
No, there is not.
there's not. I did like today, there's not.
Yeah, it's probably disconnected, but.
I think in the future, whenever there's properties that you consider to buy for the purpose of parks, that you get with the city first to see whether at some point in time, we are willing to take them over.
What I was bringing up, Johnny, is not necessarily a parcel of land. I mean, a parcel of land doesn't, in here, give the city, say, this is a park. No, it's not a park. When you develop it, and, you make it into a park, and then you can hand it over, like the skate park. The skate park, you develop that, you guys, there's a skate park there, the bathroom, whatever the situation may be. Now you hand that over, I understand that. Maintain it, take it from there. But a parcel of land, Northwest Community Park, That's not a park, that's a parcel of land. That's not a park.
That's just,
That's
you're
a
handing
raw
over
piece
an
of-
expense for the city.
Yeah, you're handing over an expense for the city. So, I mean, I know there's some good, I mean, there's a gym in there, the beer warehouse, the skate park, this, but handing over a parcel of land is not saying I developed a park for you guys this year, you maintain it. That's a raw piece of land. That's not a park.
What about?
So buying 20 acres and saying here's a park is not a park. That's 20 acres. We have land. You know, we have undeveloped where we can build parks. The thing is, I'm saying, develop a park, you know, and say, here, take it over, you maintain it, this is everyday cost. I can't handle everyday costs in a one-man show. I understand that. I don't expect you to run the FEC and run the skate park. But in the future, the skate park happened before you got here. You know, if you're gonna develop something, yeah, take it over, it makes sense, but a raw piece of land is not a park.
I think in that case, I think he's just using that land as trade.
Yeah, but initially my question was if there's any development parks, and you said no, that our focus was strictly industrial.
Well,
You did say that they were fun. Like if we take that northwest property and we start building some fields there, y'all would help with some funding in developing that park? Out of that money?
That's a board question.
Yeah, you have to go.
Yeah, it has to go to the board. It's not-
I mean, you need to tell me what, you know, what the plan is, and I'll go to the board.
Yeah,
Um,
we approved their budget.
You know, and so basically, if you all want to say we don't want non-improved parcels on our books, I mean, tell me that, and then we're down to the beer warehouse and the skate park, I guess, and one other, and then my board can decide, you know, which ones we want to put money into and, you know, and work with the city on developing them.
Because currently, we don't have a plan for that particular acreage. I know they have some proposals, but there's never really anything that I brought to the council. I know the mayor actually showed out a plan, an old plan. We have some ideas, but we haven't spent any time on money. I know the Parks Foundation is trying to get their 503C settled, it's not quite settled yet. So they haven't made any recommendations in regard to what they'd like to see in the park or what's available. So I'm going to put the rest into the board. If you want to negotiate more and get the attorney involved and staff involved into the cost, I can give you for the cost, to look at doing an interlocal agreement for that, and then I can go back and say, and write, so Mr. Baker can take it to his board, what we're interested in and what we're not.
Shouldn't we go to his board first?